With the prayers of Holy Fathers, Lord Jesus Christ, our God, have mercy on us and save us. Amen. Good evening. For those new here, my name is Father Joseph Swaden. I've worked in Orthodox apologetics since 1998, and I'm the founder of NFTU, True Orthodox and Ecumenical News, since 2004. We've been in the apologetic space on Facebook since 2016 and on YouTube since 2018. And if you appreciate what we do here, please like and subscribe. Today we do our live Q&A session where you can get your questions answered live as well as member-requested video reviews. So let's get started. And as always, if you want to jump on the stream to ask a question or make a comment, just click the link at the top of the chat. I haven't put that up yet. Ooh, poor preparation. Okay, hold on one second. Copy and chat, and I will now have to put this on the YouTube stream, and I will try to do it as silently as possible. But there may be a little bit of noise before I... Okay, there we go. And so it's pinned at the top of the chat. So if you want to jump on stream to ask a question or make a comment, you can. I'll be taking super chats from the YouTube chat. If you want your question or comment without super chatting for today, I'll answer it, but you might miss it if I don't put it up. I mean, that's what I usually do, but obviously there's going to be big changes on the stream, which I will be talking about. Let me kill this one here. You were supposed to get, come on, close. Okay. All right, so let's get started. And so we're going to go here. Hello to everyone who is there. For those asking for a blessing, may God bless you in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And let's see here. Hello to Vapor Saga, Honeybee, Jonathan, DTC, Vasilia. And so let me get started. Give me just a moment. And I'm just going to make a note. Hold on. Okay, hey, well, we got someone coming on. Hold on. Welcome. This is Joel.
Oh.
Hello.
Yeah, I was going to ask, this is an interesting question I had just thought of.
Yeah, no problem.
What do you know what rites were used in Scandinavia? Because it's kind of like you have kind of the Russian influences a bit, from my knowledge, in like Finland, but then obviously it's kind of Western. So I was kind of curious about that.
Let me give me just a second, because the first thing that pops to mind is the rite of Nidaros, which was a recension of the Roman rite. And so that I would say that in most of Scandinavia, they would have been using a form of Western rite, which might have been tonally slightly different, but not too dissimilar to what's used at the Abbey. Hello?
Oh, I'm still here.
Oh, yeah. So I would look up the use of Nidaros to get an idea of that, but there's like information. What you'll find, it's very similar to the serum. So it did exist. I would say in areas under Russian influence, obviously they moved more Orthodox in, and there was in certain points in Eastern Scandinavia and Finland, etc., there were substantial Orthodox populations.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that. Did you have a more specific question on that relative to that?
Could you spell it in the chat?
Oh yeah. Hold on. No problem. Give me just a moment. Okay, and hold on. And let me see here. Okay. Okay, so that's there is currently a Roman Catholic archdiocese that exists that is over that town, but that is the kind of the spelling of the region that you would find more fairly ancient Scandinavian rite, which is basically based on the Roman.
Okay.
Let me see here. All right.
I was just genuinely wondering because I'm like, would it be more eastern or more west? I mean, it could
depending on
almost
where
be
you
both
were.
geographically, yeah.
Yeah, depending on where you were, it could be either Eastern or Western. Well, the beauty of it is that really what we do know is outside of language, the liturgies and usages they had, welcome Jeremy, the liturgies and usages that they had are very similar to what we have now. So in that sense, outside of electric lights, you can experience these things today. And Jeremy, welcome aboard. Today is our live Q&A. So if you have a question or comment, let's hear it.
Awesome. Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, we can. Jeremy? Jeremy? You're not saying anything.
He might be setting up his mic yet.
Oh, okay. Because I thought he had it set up. We heard him.
I recently figured it out, so.
Okay, well, that makes sense.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. I'm just trying to figure out how World Orthodoxy can accuse true Orthodoxy of being schismatic and heretical ecclesiology. I'm just not quite sure how that comes about.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to be one to do their homework for them, but for the most part, it's usually the actual Roman Catholic arguments that have been tossed against Orthodoxy. Very often, Roman Catholics would argue that the Orthodox were Donatists, and we're seeing that same sort of standard, even though it doesn't make sense because Donatism had to do with sin and not heresy. Yes. Past that, I really don't understand what they say about us, because I've heard that, they're heretical, and I say, how? And then they're like, block, and they won't tell you. So exactly, I don't know that they actually have a real definition, or they're just pulling at strings from Roman Catholic arguments. I can't personally tell. But it would be, I'd love to one day read an essay of theirs, like the heresy of the old counter, so we can know what heresy we're under, because right now they don't have one. We know what heresy that they're under with ecumenism, and Sergianism and modernism, but we don't have any. When they throw that back at us, it strikes me as feeling kind of like their egos bruised a bit, and so like maybe like they just have to say, well, you're a heretic, and there's nothing behind it, but they're just trying it. If I'm trying to change the perspective a little bit on the video. So, if I'm kind of moving a lot, it's because I'm trying to reorient my head to all the different places that I'm looking at on the screens. But I hope that answers the question, Jeremy. I mean, I don't know. Well, how did this come about?
Well, just because I've been looking into Orthodoxy since 2020, but I didn't ever commit to a church, because the closer I got to going to a World Orthodoxy, then that's the moment I discovered true Orthodoxy. That was about a year and a half ago.
Many such cases.
I've actually had a lovely email exchange with Subdeacon Nectarios.
He's a friend of the channel. We love him. We love him.
Yeah,
here, so.
He's really helpful. And just what spurred me to want to ask this question is Orthodox Kyle, a YouTube channel. He made a recent video telling people that they should go to church, but said don't go to a heretical schismatic.
Please put that link in the chat so that I can, or please put the title of the video in the chat. I will review it right now.
Okay, yeah, I'll find it. I know it's just his most recent video, but yeah, please do, because he says don't go to anywhere that's true Orthodox or genuine Orthodox. But
I wonder if he has me blocked on Twitter. I think he does, because a lot of these folks do. Yeah. Which makes it impossible to reason with them when you would try to ask them questions, and they have to be blocked, and they often have a kind of like a block circle.
Yeah.
So basically, like, once you're blocked by one, you're blocked by all. So let me.
Yeah, I've asked him before about.
He does not have me blocked. I think I actually might have even written him once or twice, but let's put on his video. Let's find out. I want to hear his excuse.
Yeah, it's at the beginning. It doesn't really explain it though. That's the problem.
He just
He
throws
just
that out.
says it's heretical and non-canonical, schismatic.
Right. Let me see here. It has okay. So let's see if we can find this. Give me just a moment, and I will put that up on the screen. And I'm gonna look for the hidden reason. That's what we do, because there's got to be some. Usually, the hidden reason is almost always psychological. How to find a local Orthodox church worldwide? Is that it?
That's it.
True Orthodoxy's fatal weakness. We suck at maps. No, I'm serious. This is painful, but let's share it, and let me see here. All right, so I'm gonna share this, and we'll tackle it directly. Why not? Let's see. Yeah, rearranging stuff is really kind of messed up a couple of things. All right, so let's share the screen. Let's see here. All right, let's share. And let's see what he has to say. And we're going to put him on 125 because he'll probably talk too slow for the rest of us. Let's go.
In Orthodoxy, but don't actually visit an Orthodox church.
Whoa.
Many people are interested in Orthodoxy, but don't actually visit an Orthodox church for months, years, sometimes never, because they're not aware of any Orthodox churches near them. And some important things to distinguish when finding a local Orthodox church is to first make sure that it's a canonical church, that it's actually an Eastern Orthodox.
Okay, so let me see here. All right, so he's saying using the locator provided, because they just recently, I think this was a couple of years ago, they developed this map. We actually had True Orthodox maps many years ago, and they've fallen into disuse, and now we've got counter maps and new maps, and I'm trying to see if we can develop one eventually, but avoid not true or genuine in the name, heretical and schismatic ecclesiology. I'd love an explanation.
Yes.
Yeah, not Oriental churches, even though in many cases they often will commune and celebrate with Oriental churches. We've not been in communion for 1,500 years. They reject Chalcedon. See, now, for us, I would agree with that second statement completely. The problem is that their leaders actually don't. It's just a bunch of dumb laymen going out and going, you can't be in communion with them because they reject Chalcedon. What are your bishops doing? Like, stop pretending, to those guys like this. Stop pretending you're the leadership of the church your church is totally cool with communing with Monophysites, and then pretending you're us and calling us heretics. Give me a break. Let's continue.
Orthodox church. If a church says true Orthodox or genuine Orthodox, that's a schismatic group. There's also some Ukrainian schismatics. And then there's also a lot of people confuse the Oriental churches as Eastern Orthodox when they're not.
That's it. We're just heretical schismatics. Yeah, that used to fly until we had some more public visibility. That's not flying as well anymore, and it's kind of not working. A lot of people are tired of it. That's part of the growth of this channel. Is frankly, people are realizing this is a lie, and so yeah. Is there anything else on this?
No, these groups are Armenian, Coptic, Ethiopian, Indian churches. And if you're unsure about if it's an actual Eastern Orthodox church, I recommend using this locator called Orthodoxy in America.
Okay, so is that the rest of it basically just advertises this website? I guess Jeremy left. Okay. Well, I'm going to assume it is because most likely he's just advertising this Orthodoxy in America website. And it's frankly, anyone can make a website, anyone can make a map. And unfortunately, we have work to do on that because most of the maps, especially like the ones that I worked on, were over a decade old. There's more, almost 2 decades old, actually. Things have changed to the point where there's a lot more churches. There's a lot more stuff going on. So yeah, that can't work. Unfortunately, we have to make new maps. So that's what we've got to do. Let me see here. And so just a reminder again that we do take super chats from the YouTube chat. If you want your question or comment without super chatting, I'll answer it, but you might miss it if I don't put it up. So let's scroll on down and let's take a look. Okay, the first question I got was from a honeybee. Greetings. Can I receive a blessing to hold Typica? If you're not my spiritual child, I'm not going to give you that blessing. You should be getting it from a bishop. And frankly, that's only if you have arrangements to go to church, etc. I would never just be like, haha, I am Father Joseph. I bless you till Tippet. No, that's not how it works. Find a bishop. Father Blessing, God bless you. We got that covered. Okay, continue on. I don't speak much Russian. Truly is risen. Orthodox was now one of our members. If you're a member, your statements get on the screen. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Joel. So Joel is here. Give me a second here. I want to see if let me see here. I'm trying to see if I can get one. I saw Bishop Enoch was around, but I'm wondering if he is available to join us. Okay, okay, yeah, Donatism ultimately is, I'm going to put it up, even though you're not a member of Sunrise, but I'm going to put it up anyway because it's Donatism. It's what it is always. Jonathan Britt says, the main thing World Orthodox get hung up on is the supposed disunity between true Orthodox synods, but they fail to realize that we have informal communion in many cases. Welcome back, Jeremy.
Hey, sorry, my phone overheated. Sorry about that.
No worries. I just figured I'd stop it at the map because I figured that's what he was going to talk about for the next 3 minutes. He basically doesn't address anything.
That was it.
Yeah. So
I'll
turn it into a
I've
clip.
asked him before, and he sent me David Erhan's video that you've already dealt with.
Covered. Yeah. If you have a church near
in True Orthodoxy, I'm reading about how True Orthodox consider non-True Orthodox to be graceless and not to have valid sacraments. First of all, are those synonymous, graceless and invalid sacraments? And secondly, is
pretty
that
much
true? And what exactly does that mean? Okay.
It is pretty much true. That was actually, to a large degree, the standard Orthodox position for the past, 2,000 years. There were qualifications made for economy. But the assumption is that there was the filling of grace through second or third rite receptions, which were honestly discouraged, and in our day have to be discouraged because the baptisms that are done by Latins and Protestants are so dissimilar to what the Orthodox form was. People forget that when those guidelines were written in St. Basil's rule, everybody, including the Arians, had identical services. They just had different beliefs. They were heretics, but nobody doubted that they used the proper form of traditional baptism. That's not what happens now, and I think we have to be more honest about it. The church has always believed that. That's not a new thing. When people say true Orthodox, people like to say true Orthodox versus Orthodoxy. That's literally the opposite of what it is. True Orthodoxy is Orthodoxy. So the fact that they are calling themselves the Orthodox while not holding that position means that they are a false Orthodox, not that they are Orthodox and we're something different, if that makes sense.
Right. Yeah, it does. Does it then invalidate, let's say, one Orthodox, true Orthodox jurisdiction, one true Orthodox church? Do their sacraments become invalid if they stay in communion with another true Orthodox that stay in communion with another Orthodox? Does that make sense?
You're doing it again. You're still differentiating between true Orthodox and World Orthodox as the Orthodox. When you make World Orthodoxy the standard, you're making a bad standard. True Orthodox who are in communion with true Orthodox have no problems with each other because they're all Orthodox. When you include the ecumenists and you start talking about their ecumenism, then there's a problem, obviously. But it's not because the heretics are holding the Orthodox standard. It's because you're maintaining communion with heretics. So it's totally different.
Just to clarify, so I'm trying to ask, and sorry about this. I'm trying to ask that if if you have communion with another Orthodox church that is truly Orthodox, but then
which we do,
yeah, but they decide to have communion with someone who is ecumenist.
That can happen, in which case they have to be admonished. They have to be told not to do that, and they have to make a decision. Do they want to join with World Orthodoxy, or do they want to stay with the true and saving confession of faith? We've seen that happen before.
Okay.
And especially because, especially in earlier days, World Orthodox had a lot of resources, especially state resources behind them, translation, money. So, that's tempting. It's tempting, and it's like, I can feel official. I get to sit at the table with the governor, so on and so forth. But these things don't mean anything because, any committed person can make something of meaning from a political sense. And money is just money. So is that what makes the church? No. What makes the church is the saving confession of faith, the martyrdom, the life of the church, the prayer, the fasting. That's my point, is that when you do see people doing stuff like that, it's almost a guarantee they're going to fall away.
But does your church become graceless once the church you're in communion with?
If we would affirm, I would not. I'd be very careful with using the term graceless because of the fact that there have been cases of hierarchs who repented. But I would say that they're on the way of going down, and they should be avoided immediately if they begin to affirm communion with the heterodox. Absolutely.
Okay, I guess I'm just trying to pinpoint the moment of invalidation.
I would suggest, as a layman, you should try to pinpoint the moment when you should run away from a false bishop.
Okay. And that's what Paul teaches in Galatians, right?
Yeah, that's more important than when exactly God withdrew his grace. You already know that if they have violated the teachings of God, that's a good enough time to run.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem. Any other questions for me?
I do have questions about Oriental Orthodoxy, if you don't mind.
That's fine.
Not because I'm interested, but because a lot of these World Orthodox YouTube channels seem to struggle with true Orthodoxy and Oriental Orthodoxy.
We've actually tried to confront the Oriental Orthodox directly on matters related to Chalcedon because of the fact that they're willing to, especially World Orthodox in many cases, are willing to just bow on it. They're willing to say, we have agreed statements, you should follow them.
Yeah,
that's the ecumenist answer, and so far, it has not been very successful. They want us to debate with anonymous lay people when we've said we want to debate with a priest. The last time I debated in a very public setting with somebody in World Orthodoxy, it was a layman. After that debate was over, I received nothing but hate from a lot of people who said I should have debated a priest. Unfortunately, there was no priest willing to do so. So we made it a point that they have lots of priests talking on their side, so we have no problem with engaging them in a dialogue, a debate, etc.
Okay.
If you have any more questions, I want to get through some of these comments first.
Yeah.
So the main thing World Orthodox get hung up on is the supposed disunity between true Orthodox synods, but they fail to realize how we have informal communion in many cases. Also, World Orthodoxy is disunified just as much for geopolitical reasons. That was Jonathan Britt, very true. Ascender points out members get their get super chats on the screen, but the cops are okie dokie, right? Absolutely, that is, they won't admit to it, like Kyle in the commercial there for World Orthodoxy wasn't admitting to the reality that World Orthodox does recognize their mysteries. That's basically how it works. Vasily, that's not you. You're not a member yet, Vasily. Cops are worse than papists. I mean, when you start comparing heresies, I guess, I don't know. I mean, I think they're both bad. I think once you've lost I would say that in some ways, cops have the zeal correct because at least they're trying to maintain some sort of conciliar canonical tradition, even though it's been ripped from the branch of Orthodoxy for 1,500 years. But at least they're trying. Papism is just, the cult of the Pope. Pure heretics, absolutely. Ascender says, I suppose I understand the World Orthodox to some extent in True Orthodox, that True Orthodox do definitionally deny that their quarter has mysteries with grace. The big problem is that I hate to sound childish, but they started it. They're the first ones to declare that our mysteries did not have grace in Greece, in Russia, in Serbia, in Bulgaria, everywhere we are. They were the first ones to say they are graceless schismatics. Then they get mad when we say they are graceless schismatics. That's just standard textbook Orthodox teaching. Let's see here. But then ecumenism is literally hand in hand with ever weakening faith. That is absolutely true. DTC has some jokes there. But it is whenever purity of confession orthodoxy weakens, thereby ecumenism rises. Absolutely true as well. I would say that when you introduce ecumenism, it destroys faith as well. Father, give to Presbyteria a task to help you with those maps. It's easy for you joined. We're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about that a little, Vasily, because we got to talk about resources, how I do what I do, because that came up as a question. Sender says tons of conservative ladies say the Monophysites are heretics, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't even matter because there isn't one of their bishops doing it, and that's the problem. Yeah, just go to a Rokor or Serbian church and everything will be okay, bro. Yeah, that's the basic attitude that they have. But the bishops are terrified to say anything like that. Right, they won't say that because they've already agreed that they're not. I can see a video any time of the day of Bart doing something with a Buddhist or shaman. Yep. And Wazna says, what's funny is that none of our churches have true or genuine in the name, though. Yeah, it's mostly due to the legal registration. Most parishes do not include true in their name. They don't have to. We're just Orthodox churches. Orthodox Traditionalist Publication says, World Orthodox Reason. Our YouTube Yeronda said it's not the methodology, even though the scriptures and saints have again broken communion with heretics. He's not a member. I put him up, but he is a friend of the channel. Please forgive me, guys. The more you go up, and Vasily says, the more you go up in World Orthodox, the more cowards and mouthless snakes you get. Unfortunately, that's true. Sender says they act like there's no precedent for breaking communion when there are plenty of saints who have separated themselves from all the bishops. All the false bishops. But yeah, that's happened throughout church history. Okay, so before I get to another question, did you have any other questions for me, Jeremy, since I am done with the readings of the questions and comments?
Yes, thank you. So my other question that I just wanted to be clear on, and maybe if I'm thinking in the right direction, for Oriental Orthodoxy, it seems that issue is so important to the point where Orthodox, and by Orthodox, I mean true Orthodox, because I understand what you said. So Orthodox Christians and Oriental Orthodox actually worship a different God. Is that right?
I would say that if that's tricky. The basic thing would be to say, yes, if you are deviating from the worship of God properly and from the teachings of the church, then yes, you're worshiping a different God. That's the most technical thing to say. Mm-hmm.
Okay, in the same way, because of the Filioque and many other reasons, but especially because of the Filioque, it's a different understanding of the Trinity, and therefore Catholics worship a different God as well. Is that right?
I've always been more tempted to say Catholics are really a cult of the Pope, since they're willing to throw away the Filioque. They're willing to throw away things left and right, but what they want is the union with the Pope. So, you go to an Eastern Catholic church, half the time it doesn't have the Filioque in it, and a lot of the people don't believe it, but they're still part of the cult of the Pope. Okay,
thank you. That's all my questions.
No problem, and thank you for calling. Call in again if you have any other questions. Okay. Hey, Joel, now that I think about it, I'm just curious because were you kind of like sticking around to kind of help me out here, or did you have another question and I just forgot about you?
Oh, no, I was just hanging out if that's all right, or if
more
not,
than all right. It's more than all right. It's more than all right. Okay.
All right.
Let's see here. Sender, there should be a multi-jurisdictional map of all the true Orthodox jurisdictions worldwide. Oh, there should. And yeah, let me put it to you this way. We had a hard enough time doing just this sort of thing almost 20 years ago with the United States alone. It'd be a, pardon the pun, godsend. All right, but that, again, with related to Vasilia's point about just asking Presbytera to help, I get it. You guys should do it. But I got a question here, which I thought was pretty interesting. I put up a short for St. Nectarios, and it's a very real question, and I have kind of been afraid to answer it, but now that I see it again, I'm gonna share it. And that was here on YouTube just today. So I am going to, if I can, present the screen. And I'm gonna put that up on the screen here. And maybe see if we can make it a little bigger. Okay, so it was asked nicely, so I'm definitely going to answer it. And somebody says, hey, Father, I hope you're doing well. I have a question about priests in the GOC. Are most priests working in their ministry full-time, or are they working secular jobs as well? How can you focus on your ministry if you also work a secular job? Thank you, Father. May God bless you. And I promised him I would answer it on tonight's show. To answer the question is this. It's not easy. Most, I wouldn't say, I don't even know if I can say most, but many true Orthodox priests in America and Europe and even in the old countries, etc., often have to have a second job. to support themselves. This is often because of the fact that there's no, what's the word I'm looking for? There's no mechanism in place to make sure that the priest is paid for his labors. There should be. I think that even if a parish has just a few dollars every week, etc., for the upkeep of the church, it should be given to the priest, even if it's $5-10. It doesn't matter. At least they're doing something. But there must be a mechanism in place for the parish to give support and upkeep to the priest. And so that is kind of this was the nicest way that I've seen the question asked. I will say that one of the reasons that one of the times that I really came close to, and eventually a few days later ended the Discord, the NFTU Discord, was because there were a lot of people who were angry that somehow I was doing this sort of work full time, and that I could devote instantly. If someone said something nasty about us, I could address it at any given moment. And there were literally angry World Orthodox people screaming, "Get a job," on my Discord. And they didn't mean it as in get a job like you're lazy. They just meant get a job as in get away because you're causing us problems. And that was disheartening, to say the least. But because of that gave me inspiration to answer this question as how do I survive, or as I shall put it on the screen, how to live just doing YouTube, or why Father Joseph doesn't have a real job. The number one way, and this is, there are many True Orthodox channels, especially ones that are bigger than ours, that are True Orthodox. If you have a successful monastic or parish subsistence, if you're in a monastery, you can do that because of the fact that monasteries are designed to be basically self-sufficient. And if you have a large monastery, you might have 1 or 2 monks that are very good with tech and they can do the cameras. And like, if we take, I would say probably one of the most successful True Orthodox channels, which is Orthodox Tradition, which is run by the metropolis of America under Metropolitan Demetrius. They have exactly that. They have a very good following. They have a good number of monks. I guess a couple of them know how to set up cameras. And most of what they do is stuff they were doing anyway. So if it's, the divine services or the offices of Vespers and Matins, if you have your cameras set up and you have a couple of monks willing to check them and do them, it's just a matter of flipping the switch and more people can see the good that you're doing. So that's one way that you could do that, and that works. It helps a lot, and it increases your visibility, and more people learn about True Orthodoxy and see beautiful churches. There's a couple of channels in Bulgaria and Romania. You can see their beautiful cathedrals of True Orthodox churches. It's wonderful. You can see all the people, great chanting. It's all over the place. So that's one way you can do it. If you have a successful monastic or parish subsistence where you can afford to do YouTube, you can do it. The other, another way of doing this is, frankly, be insanely popular and live off the algorithm and the donos. I'm sure we all know certain YouTube priests who have insanely large followings. Well, I have a surprise for you. Once your following gets past an active user base of over 10,000 followers, you're going to be making at least, like, I probably could survive on that if that happens. God willing, it will. But the point is, when you're seeing a priest with like 250,000 followers or 500,000 followers, and they've got like a whole bunch of they've got like different ways to donate, and then regular donations, etc. Because that is one thing that makes a difference. Is that that's why I ask for regular donations, especially on YouTube or on PayPal. They make a difference. And the number 3, and this one is me, frankly, and I'm going to be honest with you, be used to living within a certain standard, i.e., be poor. Before I started doing YouTube, most of my jobs that I have worked over the past 15 years have generally paid less than $30,000 a year. That is not much. And the truth of the matter is, it was always a bit of a struggle. I did YouTube for, it's been 6 years, but for the past up until last year with the debate, right before it, I think, or right after it, I don't remember. I finally swallowed my pride. Basically, people were asking, how can we support you? How can we help? How can we grow this? How can we make? And I'd be like, no, this is my hobby. And that got me into, I think that got me into kind of a rut where I basically saw doing what I was doing on YouTube as kind of just like, I'm just doing it now, I guess, just to answer questions. And I didn't take it seriously in terms of what it could be as a ministry. It's when I stopped saying no to asking and I started saying yes to doing so that people offered to help and support me. And I'm going to get to, there's a really cool ending to this. But I was pretty used to not surviving on much already. I don't know that I would be able to do this if things hadn't worked out the way they did 3 years ago when we got our house and mortgage, and it literally cut our price of living in half when it comes to rent. In that sense, I'm extremely fortunate. I'm extremely blessed to be in the position where I am by God, and I'm extremely grateful to our community. They have been massively supportive throughout the way. I just have no words except, thank you. And that my prayers are for all of the people who have supported us. We're going to keep trying to help them. We're going to keep trying to make the channel grow. And more importantly, as I promised from the very beginning, for all those people who are unbaptized without a church, etc., we're going to try to find you a church. We're going to try to get you in so that you are receiving the mysteries, that you are part of the church, and that Orthodoxy, because too much of this Orthodox dialogue, quote unquote, and I'd say including World Orthodox mostly in this, is doing stuff online and not living the faith as well as you can with the grace of Christ to help you through the mystery of baptism, through the mysteries, etc. If you don't have that, you're not technically part of the church yet. And when I first started doing this, as I mentioned last year, I discovered a lot of people weren't. They weren't part of the church, and that scared me. So my job has been to try to tell people, look, you've got to get baptized, and I'll help you find a way. And I'm still doing that. And that to me is my real job, not being a YouTuber. My real job is being a priest, trying to help people join the church and help them receive the mysteries. Before the internet, that was just part and parcel of a priest's job. But here's the hidden one, the one that I hide, which is that you can't always guarantee that you're going to have support. You can't always guarantee that 1 week people are going to be able to help you. And so number 4 is gigs, because there have been occasional weeks, even an occasional month, since this started where, frankly, I didn't have any money coming in, and I was nervous. I was praying. I was hopeful. So I would just turn on a DoorDash app and start doing deliveries. If there's one thing that my father taught me, it's that there's no such thing as a shameful job unless it's sinful. Actually, countless priests have also said that, but my dad said it first in my life, so that's what counts. And the point is, there's work available if you need to do it. I know people who have done everything from getting by growing their own vegetables. There are people in my town who do scrapping. All of these are just honorable work. There are people who flip from yard sales, and now there's whole YouTube channels developed to it. But there were people doing that before there was a YouTube. One man's trash is another man's treasure. It's just a matter of looking for opportunity, and that's really what gigs are about. The simple reality is, if what you need is money, then there are ways available, and God will help you find them. So I wouldn't worry too much. But I did want to answer that question because I do know that there are more people that want to be doing things like that. There are more people that want to. Okay, what's going on here? Why is it still on the screen? Okay, let me remove it. There's more clergy that want to do stuff like this, and what we need to do is when we see a clergy saying, "I want to do more ministry online," we need to rally the troops and we need to help them. I hope that I know that there's Father Methodius has been looking into that. again, I know that I have a lot of viewers, and a lot of supporters that are in the GOC Kalinikos. Maybe you want to help him out. I mean, I don't know. From what I understand, he's going job hunting, or he may have found a new job, in which case he did. And I hope I'm not interrupting his life. But yeah, he's a great person and a great visible voice for Orthodoxy on the part of your synod. And I think that if you are watching me now, consider sending something his way. If that's why it may be annoying that I constantly ask for money, but that's part of the reason why, because this is basically what I do. All right, let me see if there's any new comments. Okay. Father Boniface, Benedicite, can you give us an update about the monastery in Greece? I wasn't aware something happened to the monastery in Greece. So I'm not sure. Can you give me more details? Because I may not even know about it. I've been focused so much on domestic issues with the things like what's happening in North Carolina. I'm wondering if that collection is still going on, because it looks like it may be almost over. Give me a moment, because I know the Girard family, I'll share that screen. I know that their house was lost in a hurricane. So I do want to share that real quick, and I'm going to include a link for those interested in helping out. They lost their home. Like their entire house was wiped out by the hurricane. And it's like a family of like 8 or something, or 6. It's a big family. 2, 4, 5, and I think they have another one coming. Yeah, 8 people. The whole family. They all made it out safely. But as you can see behind them, I don't know if that's what's left of their house or they took that picture camping or something. But the point is, they don't have anything anymore. It's all gone. They managed to save a couple of personal relics. I guess he was Paul is the son of Father Lawrence Girard of blessed memory, and yeah, but they're close. So if you want to get them over the hump, it'd be really good. Go to Give Send Go and make sure to support them. I'm going to put that link in the chat in case anyone wants to reach out to them, and so that is something that you can do. Now I know about a hurricane happening in Florida. God willing, it's not too bad, because Floridians have dealt with a lot of hurricanes. So let's continue. Both sides can't be right. That's the problem. And Cyprianism was a sleazy attempt to have a middle way. I don't know that it was sleazy. It was bad. But I think that, I don't want to ascribe too much blame, because the 80s was a confusing time, kids. I don't want to be so rude, but I can almost anyone in true Orthodoxy, there's something in the 80s where they didn't quite live up to the standard. So it was not a great time. Father Peter was a liar all along. Hey, I put that on the screen and I shouldn't have. But Wazna answers yes. It's unfortunate, but that's the only conclusion I can come to. Is he really serious about, preserving the... I don't think he is. Are you asking about Esphig Menu, Father Boniface? To my knowledge, nothing's changed yet, which is good. No news is good news on the Esphig Menu front, because things like this have happened, and Esphig Menu is like Schrodinger's monastery, where it could be that the monks are injured, or someone gets hurt or something, or nothing happens. It's just, we wait. And we're in that, were they hurt? Did something happen? Did they leave? Hope so. World Orthodox are graceless as their brothers Arsian Protestants. Just be agreeable with them, not giving them any admission. Well, we will admit them by baptism. I mean, no, well, I see what you're saying. Oh, you're talking about World Orthodox. A lot of them, especially people from the Roe Corps, they're doing the form of baptism properly. So I would feel uncomfortable doing that. And this is me personally. I'm not talking about my bishops, etc. But I would personally feel uncomfortable if I knew somebody who knew a Roe Corps priest who always did his baptisms right, and he went to the MP, and I'm going to be like, it's time to rebaptize you. I would feel very uncomfortable doing that, and I would say there's one Lord, one faith, one baptism, and I do not want to risk messing that up. Honeybee says, Father Joseph, should we love heretics? Well, we should love all of our neighbors. It's a weird question. That is what happened to the Rokor, Wilson says. Vasily says, should you love Satan? Well, yeah, that's a good question, actually. Wilson says, Rokor went into union with the MP with the belief that they could somehow still be the conscience of the MP and remain truly Orthodox. Well, look how that worked out. Yeah, good point. Honey, we should love them as Christ loves them, but they're in prelist, and we should pray they repent. Exactly. Orthodox Traditionalist Publications, I should not put it on the screen because I'm not a member yet, but 2 Thessalonians, 2 Peter, 2 John, Jude, all say flee the heretics. He's absolutely right. Isaac said, didn't Jay Dyer do a stream about that? Monophysitism versus diaphysitism? I realize that a lot of people pay attention to what Jay Dyer says. Oh, Isaac became a new member. We'll put it on the screen. Congratulations. Thank you very much. I have not seriously followed most things that Jay Dyer does. I don't care about his answers. He very rarely uses the fathers. It's all philosophical stuff, and I think they mostly admit that now. So, unfortunately. Sunrise gives a trophy smile. I'll take it. Very good. Vasilia says, Christ hates heretics, especially leaders and gatekeepers who blaspheme the Holy Spirit like Ecumenists. In the vision of St. Peter about Aria, he said that. I don't know that Christ hates heretics. He hates heresy, but I don't know that he hates any of his creation. He may hate what they do. Wilson says that Maximus, the confession of the church, is that which maintains as a true and saving confession of faith. That is absolutely right. Balkan says, Father Joseph, do you like an icon of Saint Paisios? Well, which Saint Paisios are we talking about? I have a feeling you have an idea of a Saint Paisios that I do not. Give me a moment here. And because I'm fairly certain that there were a few Paisioses that have existed, but if you are talking about Elder Paisios of Mount Athos, who blesses the ecumenical patriarchate, no, I don't, and I don't want one. Vasily says Paisios is a heretic, not a saint. That's true. Balkan says, stop, focus on your own sins. Okay, yeah, Balkans, no. You're being ridiculous. While new calendars have issues, for sure there's some saints among them. While Roman Catholics have issues, for sure there's some saints among them. Eventually you have to say that's not acceptable. But I have a feeling you don't know where that line is, and in 2025 you'll be celebrating with Elder Paisios, the Roman Catholics, and the Protestants on the same day next year. Devin Highland says, I've seen some content from this channel over the last few months. What true Orthodox church are you a father in? I am in the Autonomous Orthodox Metropolia of North and South America and the British Isles, Archdiocese of New York. My Metropolitan, his name is Metropolitan John, and our website is orthodoxmetropolia.org. Sunrise, Filioque was an ex-cathedra. Don't worry, guys. Yeah, exactly. Debt to Compromise says, you should read the uncensored letters of the saint in your profile picture. Very true. DTC. And so, absolutely correct. The uncensored life of Father Seraphim Rose shows that Father Seraphim was true Orthodox, basically. Yep, and he was a bit softer than some of the Greek ones, so he was that. Well, he might have been. I don't know how soft he was. He passed before I was Orthodox. Was Elder Paisios a confessor of the faith? And the answer is no. Look, brother, look. Saint Charbel, a Maronite. Who cares what he says? He has what? Charbel of the Maronites is a Roman Catholic saint. What are you talking about? You're starting to look bad, Mr. Balkans. He was a non-commemorator at first and began commemorating due to fear of man. DTC says, you're right, the church isn't a club. And Ascender says, at the time of the challenge change, Mount Athos was solidly zealot and imposed the actions of the EP of sorry memory. Very true. Balkan says, St. Charbel, not Orthodox. He has healed 26,000 miracles still today done in Lebanon. Look, once again, this is why I don't play the miracles game. God heals people ultimately. This is kind of related to the question of whether the Theotokos of Zaytun was real. I don't know. It happened outside of what I understand as the church. I hope they do their scientific due diligence, and God willing, that God interfered in their lives enough to heal them. Gradually, there was force and subterfuge, and the monasteries capitulated. Very true. Are you gonna tell Christ the Holy Charbel's not holy? Well, I'm gonna tell Christ that, to my knowledge, Charbel was a monothelite heretic, is what I'm gonna say. Miracles aren't the standard when it comes to decide who is a saint. First and foremost, the confession of faith is the foundation. Very true. Wasna, if there's no confession of faith, the rest is meaningless. I'm not actually, but I still have to have a traditional patristic ecclesiology. Very true, Ascender. Dr. Comrie says demons can also be holy and do quote-unquote miracles. Very true. DTC has a good point. The confession of faith comes first. Ascender says, I don't want to be one of those people who goes where the miracles are, rather than much difficult where they remains a pure confession of faith. Absolutely right. DTC says, exactly, if you follow miracles, you'll end up following Antichrist. Isaac says, been looking for that. Usually miracle workers conceal themselves also. Ascender says, right, Christ never did a miracle to glorify himself. Atomic Lead, you're not a member yet, but good evening to us all. To all, hi. God bless you, Atomic. Hello. Likewise, Vasilia, Father Boniface. The old calendars that was PC. I didn't tell you the big news. Now, just got reminded going through all these things. The big news is I was about to mention, which I didn't, but now I am spacing it carefully, was that I mentioned in last week's stream, generally the monthly costs, so that I could if I could, because people have been asking for a history of true Orthodoxy around the world, like a complete history. And so we had the generous donation of one of our biggest supporters. I don't know if he wants us to name him, but if not, it's fine. It's prayers and silence to that. It's been covered for me to spend the next month working on the history of the True Orthodox as a book. It's going to be large. It's going to cover generally the entire world's history from the 20th century up to today. I'm going to get started on that. I've already started putting together sources and picking up sources so that we will have the most complete history of the Orthodox Church in the 20th centuries. And you can finally say to someone when they say, where did it all supposedly go wrong? You can point to the book and say, here you go. And that's it. And you can know the history and become the smartest kid in school. All right. They're predicting Cat 3, possibly 4 at landfall. I know, Lord of Mercy, that was especially, we want to remember our people in Florida and the southern states, like Father Boniface, because they've got to deal with this hurricane coming. And Reader John says there's already plenty of people in need here in Western North Carolina. I know, and I just put that up because of the fact that, frankly, they lost their whole house. I realize they're not the only ones. If there were more give, send, goes, I'd put them up also. I just put that up. I saw it. Subdeacon Octarius had shared it. I realized they're close and glory to God. But when I first saw it, they were at like a few thousand, and it was terrifying. And we should, help as many people as we can possibly do. As Christians, this is our opportunity to kind of be the light to the nations. Orthodox Wasna says, what is crazy about North Carolina is that hardly anyone had flood insurance, so all their stuff is just gone. Yeah. Lord of mercy. Maybe senders has been the victims of the hurricanes receive consolations in the time of trials. It's terrible. EJ says, good evening. Please pray Hurricane Milton does little to no damage. We are. That's great, Father. Ascender says, will your history be a replacement for the struggle against ecumenism and the recent one done by Subdeacon Octarius because it will be more comprehensive, Father? Both the struggle against ecumenism and the recent one by Subdeacon Octarius deal 99% with the True Orthodox Church of Greece. This is going to be a covering for True Orthodoxy around the entire world. Reader John, welcome.
Hello. Father bless.
May God bless you in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Isaac says, are there any Greeks that aren't heretics? Yes, there are. They're true Orthodox Greeks, and there are millions of them throughout the world and thousands of them in the country, in the United States, and over 100 parishes, I think. Or maybe it's like 80 parishes. It's a lot of Greek parishes, is my point. Okay, Isaac, there are no shortage of Greek true Orthodox in Greece. That's true, and not even here, too. I'm trying to find a church near me, but nearly everyone uses New Calendar. Until we have a proper map up like Kyle there did, you want to go to church directories of the True Orthodox. I recommend if you're not familiar with websites of the True Orthodox, go to my Gab and go to the pinned post and look for the True Orthodox Church's hashtag. The overwhelming majority of parishes in America are either Greek or Russian parishes. Ascender says, unfortunately, there are still many places without a True Orthodox parish. That is true. There are many places without a World Orthodox parish as well. The point is, our job is not to be comparative. Our job is to find people who need us and reach out to them and see what we can do to help. But if you have it, it's where you'll want to worship. And if you don't have it, and I want to remind you again, contact a true bishop, contact a priest and establish a spiritual direction under the bishop or priest and start learning how to do Typica. Typica is a very straightforward process. I feel like I'm going to have to do more videos on Typica because a lot of people keep asking about Typica, and I don't know what people are afraid of. It is really not that complicated. So
you just got to take it in parts.
Yep, exactly. So what brings you here today? Let me see here.
Well, I was wondering what happened last week.
What happened last week?
Or was it last week?
Yeah.
Yeah. Where the live stream didn't happen. Is everything okay?
I thought we did a live stream last week.
Well,
he means Tuesday.
Or was that
what was I supposed to do?
That was the night that Father Peter did his marathon run.
Oh, okay.
That night, and I think it said there was a stream scheduled for the mystery.
I was going to do it, and I had to cancel it. Yeah.
Just making sure you're okay.
No, I was okay. It's just that I get overwhelmed with stuff to do.
Okay.
And so, because, that's the thing, and that's part of the reason why the whole, he's a priest on YouTube is really misleading. I do run a YouTube show, but I also help people in real life doing things all over the place. But yeah, that video had to be rescheduled. So I'm hoping to do that this coming week. Okay. I had to reschedule the Mr. Beast. I may redo the Mr. Beast thing because it's clear that the people I really hoped would be my guests will not. So I may just do it myself, and it will be very simple and plain and straightforward. But let me see here. But yeah, I'm talking with Metropolitan Gregory lately on Telegram of Holy Orthodox Metropolis of Boston. I don't know why people are so attracted to Hockna when so many people have left and joined the GOC. So many people before that left. I mean, I'm sorry if I'm being negative, but there's a reason all those people left, and I don't understand the interest.
May I ask a question out of ignorance on that one?
Sure.
Are they still removing saints off the calendar and
yes,
and they still have the name controversy?
Yep, it flips back and forth. I have been in this space long enough to have heard enough people on Discord go, no, they don't really believe that, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh wait, okay, maybe they kind of do, and then they're like, oh wait, yeah, they said that. They're like, oh wait, yeah, they don't really. It's a circle, and if there's one thing that the church's history has shown is that when people start pulling kind of deceptive little circular games, 90% of the time it's to mask a heresy. Mm-hmm. If they weren't behaving like textbook heretics, I would probably not believe they were textbook heretics. But they're acting like textbook heretics, and there are people who seem to want to follow them anyway. And I kind of, it annoys me personally because I've heard a number of people, they'll be like, oh, yeah, you're right, Father. You're right. I shouldn't do this, or I shouldn't go talk to that guy, and he's probably bad for me. Then they put up photos of him. Could you at least be honest and just say, like, no, Father Joseph, I don't care what you say. I don't care about your positions on Discord or heretics or Hakna. I'm going to do what I want. Say that. Be a man about it. To all those who are cowards, and hear me, be a man about it. Anyway, let's continue. Let me see here. But I need to start learning to do Typica. Yes, you do. I'm still just trying to be successful with the prayer book. Stop excuses. If you do not have church, your prayer life, according to the prayer book, is irrelevant to what you do on Sundays. It's just that simple.
Speaking of prayer books, I was told to avoid the HTM prayer books, the more recent ones, because they're pushing some of their name stuff in there.
Really? I would never have imagined that they would have changed those, because those are...
That's what I thought.
I hate to say this, and this is going to sound so crass of me, but we were talking about the business of church just throughout this episode. But you don't mess with your money makers. Like, if they started inserting name stuff into the Psalter, people would notice and they'd lose it. So I can't imagine that they messed with their Psalter, and I can't imagine that they messed with their prayer book.
Well, I switched to the the CTOS Psalter.
Okay. Is it any good?
I think it's very similar to the HTM Psalter, to be honest. Okay. So I just if they're doing the name stuff, I was like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to always be proactive and avoid risk. I actually use the Due Psalter, believe it or not, because the HTM Psalter is actually based on it. They say it in the introduction.
No,
you'll notice if you read Psalm 50 in the Due, it sounds just like HTM's version with like the difference, like 4 words.
I do read the Due. It's one of my more favorite translations.
Yeah.
Without all the commentary, of course. And,
the commentary's garbage. Yeah.
Yeah. But I didn't remember reading. I have to look at the Psalms again. Because if that's true, I might just do that myself. So.
Yeah, my guess is they haven't changed the Psalter. They haven't changed the prayer book, but yeah. So don't avoid Typica. Use Typica. And I think the HTM book actually has a form of Typica in it. But
yes.
Mr. B Sunrise says, Devin Highland said, Ascender, my father was with him this weekend. I don't know that. Okay, at the clergy synaxis. Yeah, I saw that there was a clergy synaxis for Hakna this weekend. I didn't follow it much. It's just people sitting at a desk. George K says Metropolitan Demetrius with the GOC. GOCK. Yep. I recommend Metropolitan Demetrius' stuff. And then GOCK Atomic Lead asks, they still do the if by name worshiping, you mean X? No one really believed that maneuver, right? Absolutely correct, 100%. And the prize goes to Atomic Lead. Isaac, playing games is playing games. Yes, but playing games can also be used to hide things. Desert Monks. Father Joseph, how to hold Typica. I'm going to pretend that's a joke. If your username is Desert Monks and you're asking me how to hold Typica, either A, you're trolling me, or B, you probably should have a different name than Desert Monks. So we have done some stuff on Typica. I'm going to do some more complete stuff on Typica. Where is the how-to for this? Ascender asks. There's a few of them. The one I personally, everyone wants, you want personal recommendations.
I like Father John Whiteford's, to be honest.
Father John Whiteford's is the best one and the most complete.
Yeah,
I like the one on Father Alexander's website because it has a litany in it. Well, what they've actually done is they've turned the memorizer into a litany. So let's what I'm going to start with here, we're going to go to Father John Whiteford's. I'm going to put it up here. Let's get the Typica. Where is it? Okay, here we go. Actually, I may as well just put this on the screen because this is.
I know he has cheat sheets for the liturgy too.
Yes, he does. And so I'm going to put a link, and it's going to be here, and then I'm going to share the screen. So this is where I'm going to share this. This is on Father John Whiteford's site, stjonah.org, the online reader service Horologion. The reader service Typicon is not the reader service. It's not the Typica or Obednica. You might want to read it anyway because basically what it is it's a description of the Typica. So you click on the Typica and it has instructions, and all the instructions are in italics. And then you go through the antiphons. Then it says, Troparia read in the verses. These are for the tones. They come from the Toikos. He has texts that make it super easy, which include the extra stuff already there. So it's the way people do Typica today. Using these texts is a billion times easier than anything I would have been when I was first starting.
Literally plug and play Typica.
Well, okay, that's a little bit of a lie, because I will say Father John started this website when I was new, so I was able to access it occasionally. But there was a lot of times, because I'm from the age of dial-up, where I wasn't near a computer, so I just had to use the books. So I hope that answers that question. But as far as Hogden name worship, they say they take the patristic middle ground between heretical deification of words, letters, and nominalism. Yeah, that's great. And Roman Catholics say that they're the true church. But what we have to actually do is analyze the truth. And the reality is this. They say they accept St. Tikhon's anathema. Do they accept who St. Tikhon anathematized? If they say, we accept that we agree with the anathema, then you should just say, we submit to the anathema, as opposed to, we agree to it on certain terms. We don't agree to it where they condemn this guy, which we don't agree with. Either the church has authority or it doesn't. What they're doing in this is not being very clear, intentionally. And I'm no theologian, so how can I discern the difference? By asking other true Orthodox. Just ask here, ask other people in other synods. I hate to say it, but I had to learn the hard way when it came to Gregory of Colorado. There were people across jurisdictions telling me via email, don't do it, don't go to him, he's crazy, it's going to be bad for you, it's going to hurt. But I was like, I'm not going to listen to them. And so I was like, of course, because I was just such a bright young man and I knew everything. And they turned out to be like 9 of the worst months of my life. So yeah, you can just ignore my advice too. It's cool. I mean, people do it all the time, as I was explaining. Desert Monk says, Father Joseph, there is no church here. When are you going to build more churches?
Question is, when are you going to build more churches?
Yeah, when are you going to build more churches? Why are you asking me? Why, man? I have to do the map, and I got a new book to do, and you're like, build more churches. I'm like, I'm not going to do that. No, I don't think so. All right, let me see here.
Yeah, don't desert monks build churches with their own hands?
Yeah, that's what desert monks are supposed to do. Why are you not in the desert right now building
dragging
churches?
rocks?
Exactly. Not being on YouTube, being like, Father Joseph, why don't you build more churches? Why don't you build more churches? All right. Anyway.
Well, and too, it's like, if you want to build churches, then join a true church and then start Typica, and that's how we're supposed to do it. So
that's how you build churches, because the bricks and mortar of the church are the people.
Czar's not going to fund it, so
exactly. Senator says Gregory Colorado says he's the only true church and you must be with him. Well, that's not why I joined. I originally joined because he joined ROAC, and I thought ROAC was really cool, and I didn't realize that Metropolitan Valentine had been severely kind of deceived by the guy. Yeah, but that's enough for me to stay away. I think there's other reasons. Desert Monk says, I'm in the desert, but are you? Why are you asking me?
Which desert?
Yeah, exactly. Father, if I can talk to you privately, the site of Frostinos Cafe soon in the chat, I'll field you some of my questions about how doing the Reader's Typica works. I will be glad to answer those questions. Yeah, just feel free to ask whatever you do. All right. So we are now in the second hour. We're going in at 1 hour and 9 minutes, the 9th minute of the second hour. Just a reminder, today we do our live Q&A session where you can get your questions answered live, as well as member-requested video reviews. And as well, I always want to point out that I'm going to put the handy support banner up. Support the channel. We at NFTU need your help. Support us by subscribing or donating at nftu.net, on GiveSendGo, or on Odyssey. We remember all of you in our prayers, and thank you for the support of NFTU. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe. I realize that some people are like, wait a second, didn't you just get your monthly expenses covered? Yes, for writing the book. However, I work on shoestrings because I'm used to being poor. So if you do send me money, I will be very thankful. So in any case, that's all I'm going to say there. People are, I got work to do. We've got work to do. And If you're wondering why I didn't use the cafe chat, it is because right now the cafe chat is going through a bit of confusion. I've got to figure out how to, first off, I got to figure out how to get a lot of the spam off the cafe and permanently. And not spam posting, don't worry. It's still the same high quality posting it's always been. But spam attempts in spammers have been attempting to break in now for months, and I'm at like 400 spammers I need to get rid of.
Oh, wow.
We found a solution that should work. I just have to have it installed, and then hopefully we can move towards the live stream chat thing. This will be the last huge multi-group thing that we can do. Like, we can host another 7 people in exactly this chat and this chat only for the rest of the stream, because after this stream I will be cutting off my Streamyard because that jumped from $16 to $45, and that is a lot of money.
Oh, wow.
And that's like my phone bill. So unfortunately, it's my phone bill or mega Streamyard. I will, if worse comes to worse, I'll still be using free Streamyard, but I did experiment successfully with Jitsi. Oh, Desert Monk sends $5. Thank you very much. All right, very good. And we appreciate
Wait, how'd you get $5 in the desert?
I don't know. I don't know what he does in the desert, but he did support us, so we support you. We support you back. All right, now I have $5. I'm ready to go build some churches now. All right. The sender says, it'd be nice if there was one volume for just doing typical with all the variables you need at home. Technically, there is, but I don't think you want it.
If you're going to do it that way, just lay it out ahead of time so you're not flipping through 200 million things.
Yeah, the book, by the way, that I'm referring to is Father Seraphim Nasser's Divine Prayers and Services, which has a shortened Menologion, a Commons, a General Meneon, and a Torcos, all in the one book. The one thing it doesn't have is the service of the Typica. You have to know how to do that yourself.
Yeah.
But with that one book, you could, in theory, do Typica the entire year. It's not exactly the easiest read. The text it's very 1930s. It's just above typewritten. So it's not an easy book to use. But if you cut your teeth on it like I have, then everything else looks easy. Vasily says you will pay more unless that's not feasible. How much of the people in Roquefort left before the union with MP in 2007? Sunrise seems like a good chunk from what I've heard. If you were to add all the people from the time of the split when Metropolitan Vitali left to the 2007 split with Metropolitan Agafungal, it comes out to about a third historically. Roquefort MP did try to jump in and make as many new missions and so on and so forth as possible, as did Hakna, but a lot of these are just little reader missions, or they took in some weird Western right groups that aren't really Orthodox.
And from 2007 to 2012, it was kind of a transition period, and a lot of people saw where things were going in 2012 and jumped ship that year. There's quite a bit that jumped that year.
I believe.
And then I think, 2013? It was when they started bringing in the quote unquote Western right communities.
Yeah.
And then from there, it's just been a trickle, but the trickle's been getting stronger more recently of people leaving Roquefort to go to true Orthodoxy.
Yeah. And so that I think the writing is on the wall for that. We'll see.
Yeah.
But from what I understand internally, Roquefort MP is not doing well. It all ends up being more positive for true Orthodox.
Well, their seminaries actually teaching like true Orthodox or schismatics. There's professors there just saying. I was like, what huh?
It's going, it's going full on.
I was like, have you read the history?
Desert Monk says, I pray you will focus on your own sins rather than going on judging everyone. Do not fall into such sins. God bless you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I try my best not to focus on sins, but heresies. So that's if I've been focusing on sins and you've caught that, I apologize. Not my intent. Let me see here. Sunrise says, well, Roquefort seems to let Metropolitan Jonah do whatever. So, I mean, there's unfortunately nothing that can be done about that.
Yeah.
But once again, just to finish up and to explain, so next week, I am either going to be using the free option, so we won't have like more than this many people on the screen. It's going to be cut back. We'll probably either have the Streamyard logo or we're going to be using Jitsi, depending on what we can do. Let me see here. Orthodox Traditionalist Publication says only Sarav is doing that.
There's others. They're just not as outspoken.
Okay. And so, yeah, other than that, that is, I think we've answered all the questions. Oh, wait, there was a video we were going to review. Vasily says, focus on your heresy before saying that. Okay. Let me see if we can find this video I found. Let me see.
I think we all need to correct ourselves, guys.
All right, let's see here. Well, what was it that I'd seen? Give me a moment. I'm going to try to go to the history.
Are you using a Jitsi client to log in?
No. Just
so
going right
to
just going right to meet Jitsi in a room. We haven't set up Jitsi on the site yet because I wanted to see if we could make it workable just from those existing resources. And if so, then I'm gonna look at seeing if we can install Jitsi right on the server.
Yeah.
Let me see here. Okay, so we got that guy. I'm still looking for. It's very interesting looking video. I mean, it wasn't that interesting, but
if I remember correctly, it's kind of like using Google Meet. If you've ever used that.
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
Let me see here. Okay, I'm going to try using the history. Search here. Okay. Okay, not that. All right, so I'm not seeing it right now. So, I mean, if it pops up, we'll see. Metropolitan Zone have a platform in Roku MP is evidence of how downhill it's all gone. I agree.
Yeah.
And then let me see here. Oh, and Major Saga became a new member. Thank you very much. Awesome. And TN says, can you talk about Saint Natalia? Are you referring to Saints Adrian and Natalia, or are you referring which Saint?
Which Natalia?
Yeah. Gonna need a little more there. And somebody says hello. Lingual Inquirer says hello, everyone. And so basically what we're looking at here is I had a video to review, but I can't find it. And so other than that, I don't see any new questions. It is, of course, our question and answer show. So again, I'm gonna just put up, feel free to call in at the link at the top of the chat. Comment or ask questions. And finally, I will put the wonderful support the channel banner, because you can support us by subscribing or donating at nft.net, on Give, Send, Go, or on Odyssey. And don't forget to like and subscribe. So what? New comment. You don't know who she is? Well, the big problem is that we know a lot of who she is. There's a lot of different Saint Natalias. Lingual Inquirer says, have you ever spoken to Johnny KZJ? Yes, years ago. He's a nice guy. I'm not sure where his head's at now, but I know that he kind of was, I think a lot of, I would say he was one of the real apologists, as opposed to just a follower of some other guy, but he did a lot of good work against Islam and so on and so forth. Yes, exactly. There are a lot of Natalias. So that's a bit tricky.
That's a trick question there.
Yeah, exactly. How do you not know about Saint Natalia? Which Saint Natalia? But anyway.
You don't know about Saint John?
But we're not mocking. We're not mocking. If you want a little more information, no.
We're having fun. People can laugh and smile.
Okay, don't get too don't get upset. But anyway, let's see here. So we're in the 20th minute. I'm going to take off the begging for money thing, and let's see here. Not that I if you feel the need to help, I'm gonna do. I purposely kind of phrase this because there's a few different things that I want to address that I can cut up into videos so that I can put them in and start doing that more often. But yeah, so other than that, it looks like pretty straightforward this time around, everyone. I have my monitors rearranged, so if it looks like I'm looking in different directions, that's why. I'm testing out different setups. So what I am going to do here, because I'm not seeing anything else in the chat, I'm going to say the thank you. And so I will say thank you to everyone, to Joel and to Rita. Oh, Father Boniface is here. Okay. Welcome, Father Boniface.
Good evening, Benedicite.
Benedicite, how's it going?
All right. We're bracing for the storm.
Yeah, you're in that area, though, correct?
I sure am. See, there's a cold front. There's a cold front up north, and it could push the storm south. So that's a variable right now. So so if it pushes it south, it may be less intense here in where I'm at in Lakeland. So
keep it down there this time.
We'll see what happens. Yeah, pray for the cold air to keep on coming down.
This part of North Carolina doesn't like hurricanes right now. It's pretty bad damage out here. So.
Yeah, really.
Oh yeah.
I'm hearing that FEMA is refusing to send some funds their way.
Or they're taking credit for other people's donations.
Yes.
Wow.
To put it nicely.
Well, we should all just.
I'm trying not to get too political, but it's a mess. There's
right there.
There's a lot of
funding everything overseas.
Yeah, there's a lot of private people. Like our particular county wasn't hit that hard, and there are just a couple counties above us that got hit really, really hard. Wow. And there's bigger organizations taking credit for just Joe Blows who barely make like $24,000 a year, for taking their widow's mite and giving it up there, and other people are taking credit for it. Which, glory to God. I mean, the Lord sees who does what, but it's just shameful what these federal entities, and it's not just federal, it's other entities, are doing to try and make themselves look better, get clout, I guess. Wow. But thank God for just regular old people that take care of other people. That's all I got to say about that, to be honest. But,
yeah, it's something.
Yeah.
I remember Katrina. There were so many people exploiting Katrina. It wasn't even funny.
I remember that too. Yeah. FEMA dropped the ball on that one too.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, it's people putting their trust in government rather than the Lord.
Well, here's the thing. Katrina was the one party, and Helene was the other party. So it goes for both sides.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Now, how are you doing, Reader John? Because it sounds like if you're in that area, I mean, has your house been affected, or were you?
We just had some where we're at. We're a little bit south of where it got really bad. We did have flash flooding, a bunch of down trees. We're just now getting some communications back here and there. We actually had power poles that broke in some areas around here, but it's nowhere near as bad up in as like everybody's seen up in Asheville and surrounding areas. We're actually having people from our emergency services go up there because it's bad. That expect just pray for the souls. There's going to be a lot of souls that they find that didn't survive, because there's a lot of hollers up there, as we call them, hollers and valleys and whatnot. And these mudslides started at like the top of the mountains and just worked their way down. And there's all kinds of people that live on the side, tops and sides and everywhere around these mountains. And before the storm happened, it wasn't very accessible. It was like going on a goat trail to get to some of these places. And now that they've been washed out or totally underwater, there's going to be a lot of lost souls, I'm afraid.
Yeah, so. I've got some relatives in North Carolina, and we've driven up to those roads to get up there, and it's no joke. So if it's bad,
it's bad. It's pretty bad.
The roads are already washed out as it is. So if you have something like that happen, then it's just.
Yeah, there's you ever heard of Black Mountain? Since you got relatives out here, so Black Mountain, there's a lot of warehouses for some major places and not so major places, and they're underwater right now, so it affects us because some of our grocery stores we can't, since we're so out in the middle of nowhere. Since those warehouses are gone, they're having to reroute stuff to get groceries and stuff for us out here. That's why, like what Father Joseph says, it's good to be self-sustaining, because you have stuff canned up, which we have a little bit. We'll be all right, but just if you live out here, you got to have like a backup plan.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, up here in Michigan, it's extremely windy right now, so that might play into the hurricane stuff a little bit. So.
Oh yeah, hopefully it pushes it out. We don't need any more up here. No offense, Father, but you keep that stuff down there.
Well, yeah, it can go south as far as I'm concerned. It could go farther down. There's less population in southern Florida and central, except for Miami. But if you want to go Lake Okeechobee and stuff like that, then you could go over there. That'd be fine.
Father will be all right. He's got a sorghum down there. He'll be okay.
That's my main worry is my sorghum crop. Yeah. Yep. Well, it's a sorghum molasses that makes that milk sweet, because they feed it to the cows.
Exactly. Yeah, we got a sorghum festival coming up here. I still got to get some for you and Father, especially Father. I don't think Father's tasted any, so he needs to.
Not yet.
Send some to him because it's desperate up there, so he needs it.
Sender says, I have my work cut out for me to start doing typical services at home and getting it right. A lot more books probably needed going forward. Keep me in your prayer, fathers. I'll probably do a stream on this. It's not nearly as difficult as it seems.
No.
It's really straightforward, especially if you use the online resources. But even if you don't, there's easy ways to do it.
I would, just being a reader, I would just say use the online resources first. And then if you want to incorporate the actual real text versus the crib sheet method or cheat sheet method, then slowly integrate them. I don't know your budget. I don't know your resources, but online is a good price. It's free. So start there and work your way up as you become more comfortable with it.
Right. Jerusalem Shalom says Christ is risen. Truly is risen. Father Joseph, do you feel we're in the end times? I would say that we've been in the end times since the ascension of our Lord in Pentecost.
Yeah.
If you're asking me, do I feel that Metropolitan Neophytus of Morphu, who is saying that the end times are supposed to be happening next week as soon as Israel bombs Iran? No, I don't. I think that there's a lot to what we do know about the end times. I think some things are happening that are reflective of that, but there are some things that are happening that are not only reflective of that, but are reflective of previous eras. So I would say pray and have faith. It's never a bad idea to prepare.
Here's one thing. One of the signs of the times is the love will be cold in the world. And there's still love. So, I mean, Father Joseph comes out on here religiously almost every week. Well, every week, and then almost like twice a week. And there's people that show up to support him. I mean, there's still love in the world. So once you see all that love dry up, then I would start worrying.
Yeah. Let me see. Okay, Sunrise says, where do you like to buy icons from, Father? HTM Salsa. I'm going to be honest. Again, it comes with that whole I've been poor for a very long time thing. I'm not only do I like taking printouts and cutouts from calendars and things and then putting them in frames or mounting them properly. Holy image is a holy image. My Matushka is also an icon painter. So some of the icons that we have in our home were written by her. So I don't. Yeah, I guess I see opportunities for icons in places where most people just think, "Oh, I'll just go buy one." I will say that some of her work is starting to get sold out. She's now selling triptychs or diptychs of Christ in the Theotokos, very nice ones. And so maybe I'll put a link there if
put a link in there, Father. I'd be interested.
All right, give me just a moment. Let me just see.
Yeah, I've had a lot of success just buying frames from like secondhand stores. Like I like to really go after like the metal, even if it's plastic, but just like the golden ones or the silver ones.
Well, like Father said, even from a calendar, a holy image is a holy image. I mean, do what you have to do.
I cut like sometimes I'll get stuff out of the books if I like it. Just study Bible, rip a bunch of stuff out. So.
I mean, I've seen paper icons, Streamyard. So I mean,
there have been paper icons in Streamyard.
So I mean, it doesn't have to be a fancy icon. It's holy image is a holy image.
And I had a person give me some kitchen cabinet doors that are samples, and you could put an icon in the raised panel there. Yeah. I haven't done it yet, but I have some, and I just but that's what I could do.
Yeah.
So you can. So it would be. It has the border, and you can just go ahead and paste it on there and lacquer it.
What's that famous saying? Necessity is the mother of all invention.
Absolutely, 100%. Let me see here. I'm just Jerusalem Shalom says there's so many. I'm former Jew. There's many Jews coming to Christ now in Israel. This has never been the case. You might be surprised from church history that this has often been the case.
Yeah, I know somebody.
Why former Jews are okay if they are TO, be yourself, but on Christ's side, not on Jewish side, Basilia. Okay, thank you for that. And I'm still waiting on anything about the diptychs, but I'll reach out to you if not this week, then next week, Rita John, with some links.
I got a question.
Mm-hmm.
What for a lacquer can you use? I mean, there's urethane, but the iconists use like an egg mixture or something that's made with natural materials.
Well, the egg mixture is for gloss, but it's already used on egg tempera, so you wouldn't put egg mixture on a print. I do not. I put icons in frames, but I've never mounted one. I could ask Malatushka real quick. I don't know if she seems to be doing something, but I could find out. And I could send that. Actually, I could send that to you after the show. I could just ask her because she does use a variety of lacquers. Because I know that you're working on that. Ascender says your baptism doesn't destroy your ethnic background. No, it completes it. Jews are the best Christians if they convert from Talmudic Satanism. So be zealous. Yes, okay. And it looks like. Let me see here.
It's funny. I had a priest once tell me because since I converted from Judaism, I always used to talk about it, and he said, Judaism. Well, I always thought Judaism was a noble religion, and I was getting all puffed up, and so I was like, yeah, all right. And then he's like, until Christ came, I was like, oh. So that's what there is an ethnic connection, but at the end of the day, we're all part of one Christian race if we're part of the Holy Orthodox Church.
Yep, that's true. Somebody says, until you read the Talmud. Yeah, that's another way. Yep.
Yeah, don't go there. don't do it.
And on that note, since I don't see any other questions, we are going in for the 94th minute. So I'm just going to say thank you to everyone, to our guests, to Joel, to Father Boniface, to Reader John, to those who ask questions and add comments, and to those who support our mission. Support the channel. We at NFT need your help. Support us by subscribing or donating at nftu.net, on Give, Send, Go, or on Odyssey. We remember all of you in our prayers, and thank you for all the support for NFTU. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe. Have a good night, everyone.